Welcome, yogis, to another tutorial flow. Today we'll be talking again about jump through, but with a little bit of a different shape, this time keeping the legs straight the whole way through. You'll need 2 blocks today to help give us a little bit of height, right? When we're working any of these jump through transitions, having a little more room to play with, which is going to be your best friend. So if you don't have blocks, try grabbing a couple thick books to substitute. Another great way to prep for this class would be maybe starting with the original jump through class, which is going to echo a lot of the same things we'll do here. So when you're ready, you'll grab your mat, your support, and I will see you on the mat. We'll begin in a downward facing dog. So go ahead and bring yourself onto all fours, tuck your toes, and peel your hips up and back. Find that familiar place. And try out shifting forward towards plank. Notice the spiral of your arms, triceps wrapping towards the back of your mat. And you'll see if you can maintain that as best you can as you lift back up towards dog. Now, if that transition is causing a lot of spilling in, this sort of hunching in the back, you might be better off just staying a little bit farther forward, feeling that pull of stretch and working in that place. Wherever you are, push the ground away. Feel the shoulder blades elevate towards your ears. And take a few more deep breaths. Rise onto your tiptoes and take a walk forward to your hands. Breathe in, lift halfway to a flat back. Breathe out and fold. Rise to stand, sweep your arms high, and hands to heart center. Another inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Lift your navel. Breathe in, offer your heart. Plant your hands and step back to plank. Come down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. As you're ready, rise onto your tiptoes. Bend your knees, look forward, and try a jump, feet to hands. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, fold forward. Rise to stand, sweep your arms up. Hands to heart, exhale. Another inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, wide arms, lift the belly as you lean your weight towards your toes. Fold. Halfway lift, prop yourself up on tented fingertips and swing your left leg back like you're supported warrior 3. Hold this shape. We'll slowly transition to a runner's lunge. Reach your left toes back as you bend your standing leg for 3, 4, 2, and 1. Straighten both of your legs for pyramid pose. And now if you need a little bit more movement in the hips to warm up here, feel free to take a few shifts from runner's lunge and back to pyramid. You also have these blocks handy, so you're always welcome to bring those under your hands and give yourself a little bit more room. We want to get away from this misconception that the blocks mean we're kind of taking help, like it's a lesser expression by any means, right? That's not the case. This is just giving us room to focus on different things because we're not at our limit reaching for the floor. All right, now when you're ready, we'll settle back into the pyramid pose for a bit more time. Here we want to wrap the right hip back, and we could take the self-adjustment by putting the right thumb into the right hip crease. Draw that hip towards the back of the mat. but then make sure you're anchoring down through your right big toe mount. Feel free to release your right hand whenever you're ready, but maintain that same wrap. A couple more breaths, just breathing into the back line of your right leg. Take your 2 blocks. We'll try them on the flat height, but of course if you need a little bit more room, you lift the height of the blocks. We'll then bring our tented fingers on top of the blocks. Push through the back foot to lift the back heel away from the floor. If your pyramid pose is very long, feel free to hop the back foot in a little bit to shorten things up. Push through your fingers to round your back. The belly will lift. And now we'll put all that pressure in the hands, seeing if we can get the right foot off the floor any amount. If it doesn't go anywhere, just keep working it. If it does, we're hovering. Push down. Here we go. Lift. Thigh bone to belly for 3, 2, and 1. 3-leg dog. Send the right leg back. Move the blocks. Come down to your hands. And then we'll inhale, pull forward to a 3-leg plank. 3-leg chaturanga. Tops of both feet, upward facing dog. Hips high and back, downward facing dog. Take 3 rounds of breath. On a breath in, float your left leg up behind you, 3-leg dog. Draw your knee to your chest, round the back, and step your foot between your hands for runner's lunge. Make sure you've got a little bit of room in front of you to play with. The fingertips will tent in front of you, and you'll rise up to your supported warrior 3. Now we'll come down to a couple pistol squats. Actually, 1 pistol squat. So if you want to bring your blocks in, fingers can come on top to give you a little bit of room. We'll lift the standing foot, heel comes off the floor, that left leg. Bring the right leg down to hover above the floor. Kick it through, bend your standing leg and squat. Sit your weight back and see if you can come right up into boat. Now we'll take peace fingers, hook them around your big toes. If that's unavailable to you, grab behind the legs wherever you can. Pull those legs in towards your chest, forehead towards your knees, space in your neck. Feel the shoulders wrap down the back, shoulder blades down the back. Find that sweet spot of balance. Now in this variation, the arms are doing a lot of the work. So we're going to see if we can start to educate our psoas muscle and some of those deep abdominal muscles to hold the legs where we want them. Gently release the toes, extend your arms out, and see if we can hold. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Low boat, come down and hover. High boat, lift. Now you can do these either with your bent legs, extend to your low boat, lift with bent knees. Stage 2, straighten, lower, lift with bent knees. Straighten, lower, lift with bent knees. Stage 3, straight legs all the way. Low boat, high boat. Wherever you are, work it. Keep moving. Low boat, high boat. Inhale low, exhale lift. Low, lift. Low, lift. Last one, low, lift. Knees to chest. Come into a seat for a moment. Sit tall, close your eyes. Observe the change. Feel the stability of your sits bones in the earth. All right. Blink your eyes open. Come forward over your shins. We'll shift ourselves back to table. Give yourself some room. Tuck your toes and lift right back up to downward facing dog. Couple breaths to reset. Side tip toes, bend your knees, walk or jump. Feet to hands. Half lift. Fold forward. Rise and reach. Hands to heart. Again, inhale, sweep high. Exhale, dive forward. Half lift on tented fingers. We'll sweep the right leg back to the supported warrior 3. Now again, it's about a controlled transition. As you bend your standing leg, keep the weight slightly towards the razor edge of your foot. That's going to keep your knee in a safe space. Bend and reach for 3. Right toes extend for 2. And 1, runner's lunge. We'll shift back and forth between pyramid and runners. If you like using the blocks, they're there for you, so use them. Again, we're always mindful of where the knee is tracking. We're mindful of wrapping the left outer hip back, even in these flowing transitions. Eventually, you'll come into the pyramid pose and hang out there for some stretch and lengthening. Offer your heart and bow forward, breathing into the stretch in the left leg. And again, we could self-assist by taking the left thumb into left hip crease. Wrap your left hip towards the back of the mat and anchor through the left big toe. Release your left hand when you're ready. Stay committed to the posture and breathe into these sticky, resistant places. All right, now the fun part. Take your blocks if you're using them. They're right underneath your shoulders, so you've got the most efficiency, stacking joints, energy going straight down into the floor. Shorten your stance if your pyramid is very long, and then lift your back heel high away from the floor. Push through your fingers to round your back, rebounding your belly up and in. And then again, whether or not the left foot actually moves, just keep working the lift, thigh bone to belly. Here we go. Push through your fingers and lift for 3, 4, 2, and 1. 3-leg dog, send it back. Move the blocks out of the way, hands to mat. Shift forward, 3-leg plank, 3-leg chaturanga. Tops of both feet, upward facing dog. And hips high and back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Take a breath in, sweep your right leg behind you. Knee to nose, round the back, step your foot between your hands. Tented fingers will extend forward and you'll rise up to supported warrior 3. Now again, you have the option to bring the blocks in. You could also try challenging yourself and doing this with your hands down on the mat. Ensure you've got some room out in front of you. To help out, the right heel will lift away from the floor. Feel again the rounding in the back. The left leg will sweep down, skip the floor, kick it through, and squat down. Sit down to your butt. Peace fingers around the big toes or grab the legs. Come back to your boat pose. Pull on the toes by drawing the shoulders down the back. And now see if you can maintain. Release your hands, reach forward. We're here for 3, 4, 2, and 1. Cross your shins, come forward, and grab just one of your blocks. That block is going to go at the top of your mat, the flat height but the long way across, so wide. Bring your heels onto the block with your legs extended. Now we'll work our L sit. This is a trick I learned from Patrick Beach. He's a wonderful inversion arm balance teacher. Lots of tricks, so check them out for some more drills. This is going to help us gain some strength and power in our L-sit. Hands are going to come slightly forward of the hips. In order to counter all the weight of the legs, we need to think about sending our hips sort of back behind us. So the first stage of this is just going to be pushing through the hands, rounding the back using all that same theming we've been doing so far. You'll press and lift your butt off the floor. Now that might be a good place to stay. If you can, you'll try pushing, lifting the butt, and marching the feet. The last stage will be the same lift, but seeing if you can hover both feet off the block. You're shifting, you're pushing through the ground, lifting heels. Hopefully you can see that that is pretty challenging. So this is a drill that I'm new to working with, right? So as you can see, I'm kind of in between levels. Whatever it looks like, if it's not pretty, don't worry about it, right? It's just practice. And most things look a little bit crazy when you first try, and the more you do it, the more dialed in it looks and it feels. So we're only going to hold these for 10 or 15 seconds, so they're short. You will feel most likely a burn in your quads, and that's because the quads are a big muscle. They're used to kicking on, and so when the body's doing something challenging, it's going to utilize the most efficient ways to do it. So right now, the quad is an easy target. We want to focus on using the belly, using the psoas muscle, these deep, low abdominal muscles. So just keep your mind in that spot and try to train that mind-body connection. All right, let's take the hands down just slightly forward to the hips. We're leaning forward a little bit, prepping by adding some pressure into the hands to rebound the belly in. Here we go. Press, lift your butt, do your thing. You've got marches or maybe a little hold. Stay with it. We're halfway there. Press the ground away. Get the butt high. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Take a moment to breathe. Pedal up the legs a little bit. And maybe give those quads a little love. Again, this work isn't easy. Take it as it comes. And remember, every day returning to the mat, we get a little bit stronger. All right, round 2. Hands to mat. Let's do this. Round the back. Push to the floor, lift your butt, and see about getting those feet off the block. That's it, breathe. Keep playing with it. Don't give up. 3, 2, and 1. Take a moment. Massage out the quads and breathe. Pedal out the legs a little bit. All right. One more round. Here we go. Hands to mat. Press, add a little pressure. Round the back. Here we go. Lift off. Butt lifts. Little marches. Lift and hover. Stay with it. Stay with it. Keep working. Breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Take your feet off the block. Pedal out those legs. Let's sink over to the left hip. Tuck the right leg back, heel by your hip, and then just lean back a little bit. You can think about grounding your knee to sort of lift up through the front of your hip. Just a little bit of stretch for the quad. And then we'll switch. Sink over to the right hip, tuck the left leg back, lean back, and if needed, add a little pressure, knee forward and down, a little lift of the left hip. Okay. Release your foot, cross your shins, come back over to table, And we'll find both blocks. Put those blocks on your mat about hip distance apart. Make your way up onto your feet, and we'll take a forward fold with our feet on the block. If you don't have blocks to play with, or if you have books and they're different heights, don't worry about standing on them. Instead, just take a traditional fold. Feel free to grab opposite elbows. Let things bob and sway. Feel that you're leaning your weight just slightly towards your toes. And then you'll see if you can make your fold a little deeper by engaging your quads. Feel your kneecaps lift. Draw your navel in and up. And then see if your head might creep a little bit lower towards the floor. For my friends, on the blocks or otherwise really, let's drape the hands down towards the ground. If your hands don't quite reach the floor, keep reaching with enthusiasm. If your fingertips touch the floor, keep reaching the heels of your hands towards the ground. And if you can get your hands on the ground, we're trying to bend the elbows. Just continue to reach beyond that comfortable place. A couple more breaths. All right. Come off the blocks. Kneel in a hero's pose. And then let's widen these blocks a little bit so they're closer towards mat width apart. So if you tried the tutorial on the tuck jump through, some of these things will be an echo from there. So the blocks, as we discussed, we don't want them too wide or we're losing the height we want to be able to get the whole body through. If they're too close, of course, we won't have room to sit down between them. So we're looking for that sweet spot in the middle, basically as close together as possible while fitting in between. So stage one will be the same thing we did for our traditional jump through. We'll start with the hands on the blocks and come into a short down dog. And now all we're doing is trying a couple high hip jumps. So you're jumping from your hip crease, you're keeping your arms totally straight, and just letting your body ride the gravity up and right back down to the feet. Peer forward where you want to go. Lift your heels high away from the floor. Bend your knees and jump vertically straight up over shoulders and back down to the feet. Couple of those. Vertical jump and land. Another jump and landing. All right. Now we'll take this a step farther. We'll do that same jump, and then you're going to land your feet as close to your hands or between the blocks as you can. We're looking for a little lean forward to counter the weight. Jump, feet to blocks. High hip jump, feet to blocks. Try a few of those, remembering that your break is your wrist flexion. We want to have the wrist creases parallel with the short edge of the mat, so that way you've got all 5 fingers helping to stop the momentum forward. So you're gripping down through the fingertips, right? Feel a little bit of that pressure as you're jumping your hips high and stopping the momentum forward. High hips, feet to blocks. Just a couple more. Jump, feet to blocks. Last one. All right. Take a break once again. Drop your knees. So this transition again is something new that I've been playing with. So to show you with success, I'm going to turn these blocks up one more height. The height of the blocks, if you do it this way, it's just going to be a little bit more wobbly than the flat height, so be mindful of that. If you have 2 sets of blocks, you could, of course, stack 2. This is going to be the best way, the most stability, but we work with what we have. So we've got the block set up. I'm going to come into my short down dog, and then I'm starting with that same jump that we were doing. But this time, instead of landing the feet down, I'm going to try to suction the belly up, kind of skip the floor, and slide the legs through. So this is what it's going to look like. Short down dog. I've got all this nice height I want to maintain, so I'm going to jump high, hips over shoulders, straight legs cut through. So you can kind of see when you're beginning these things, they don't always look so pretty, and that's okay, right? That's how we learn, trying new stuff and playing around. So let's give it another go. We're jumping high. I'm pushing through the floor, straight up, through, and down. Our press, that lift, just like the pyramid pose where we're lifting the front leg, it's that same compression we need in order to clear the ground. So we can take this a step back and try our tuck to extension. We'll come into our short down dog. We're jumping, crossing the shins, come through in the tuck, lengthen the legs, and come down. Choose your expression, right? There's always different stages. So you can either work some of those high hip jumps and keep trying to land feet to blocks. If you're ready to try sliding through, cross your shins to tuck and extend the legs. And if you want to try the full expression, the legs will stay straight the whole way through, thighs to belly, and you'll glide. I'll cue you through a couple more. So again, you choose the height of your block. Come into your short down dog and push away. Feel already the rounding of the upper back and the drawing in of your belly. Prep with the legs, spread your toes, focus, and take a breath. When you're ready, it's a big jump, a glide through. Let's try it again. All right. So you've got your drills. You've got some of those prep things, so keep playing with that. When you're all done, a little life for the wrist might be nice, a little stretch, a little wiggle around. And then you're welcome to lay down for a little rest or even take a seated meditation just to wind down and close out your practice mindfully. Thank you again for tuning in. Namaste.